All right. Please join me in salute the scholars and salute. Two. Be seated. Thank all of you for coming here today. I know we try to just put the word out, word by mouth, and I know that many of you have been on Capitol Hill today addressing your senators and your congressmen with all of those great issues of Veterans Affairs. We're back here to listen to the Secretary. You know, as we closed our meeting this morning, we talked about the Senator, what happened with the Secretary, and he's here to talk about that. And so once the Secretary has made his statement, he'll take a couple of questions, and then we'll move on from there. Secretary McDonald.
First of all, I want to start by thanking all of you for everything you do. The American Legion, as I laid out for the leadership this week, I think it was this week or last week, I spent a couple hours here, is absolutely essential to VA and the future of VA. It was the American Legion that really was the organization that created the VA over time, and we've never lost sight of that. So I'm thankful for everything that you do, and I'm glad to be here. As you know, while I was in Los Angeles engaging a homeless man to determine his veteran status, I asked that man where he had served in the military. He responded that he had served in Special Forces. And in an attempt to connect with that veteran and to make him feel comfortable, I incorrectly stated that I too had been in Special Forces. That was wrong, and I have no excuse. I have great respect for those who have served our nation in Special Forces. They and all veterans deserve a Department of Veterans Affairs that provides them the care and benefits that they have earned. We at the VA are working hard to restore trust. Again, I apologize to those who have been offended by my misstatement, and we remain very focused on continuing our progress to better serve veterans. Be happy to take a couple of questions from American Legion members. If you don't mind, please start with your name. I'm Bob.
Good afternoon, Mr. Secretary. My name is Mark Sandbeck. I'm the historian from the great state of Oklahoma.
Thank you, Mark.
I've been receiving care from the VA since the year 2003. I've lived my adult life with PTSD and TBI.
1968 survivor of the Tet Offensive in Vietnam.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome, sir, and thank you for yours. My question resides around this particular matter. There is a great disconnect in the VA system between mental health care and general practitioners. I myself recently experienced a disconnect in where a physical issue that I have, and I currently still have, is not being seen by my primary care provider because he has inaccurately assessed that I have emotional and social interaction issues that prevent me from self-diagnosing. Now then, I stand before you today as a capable and competent Legionnaire dedicated to this mission. I understand my fallbacks, my frailties. Assessing my own body, I am very good at.
Sure.
Unfortunately, this doctor met with me one time for 10 minutes and has sent me a string of emails through My Healthy Vet that totally disconnects me from him and his healthcare team. I am wondering, sir, as soon as your paraphernalia is in order.
I think I broke something.
I'm very good at that as well. But my question is, in your overhaul of the VA system, is there a proviso to address the blending of mental health care and physical health care for the tens of thousands of veterans who come behind us?
Yes,
Thank you,
I mean, you've asked an outstanding question, and one that goes to the core of our strategy for mental health. I'll tell you a brief story. I was in El Paso, Texas, and I was going around with a congressman, and we were looking for different sites for a potential VA hospital. and we saw a private hospital. In the private hospital, on one of the buildings was a huge neon sign that said, mental health center, and there were no cars in the parking lot. Of course, exactly, you got it, and you explained it in your question. That's not the way we should do mental health. The way we believe we do mental health is the entry to mental health is through your primary care physician, through your PAC team, your patient advisory team, and that the mental health specialist is one of the team, just like you're describing it. So what you're experiencing is not what we want. It's the reason I've given out my cell phone number and my email address publicly. So I would like to get, if I could, get your name and the doctors and so forth, and we will fix that. I apologize for that because that's not the experience that we want you to have. And anybody else has any trouble, just email me, bob.mcdonald@va.gov, bob.mcdonald@va.gov, and we want to help solve your problems. Yes, sir.
Mr. Secretary, Jake Comer, past National Commander from Quincy, Massachusetts. The VA's focus upon the efficiency and accuracy of disability claims have been the primary focus of the VBA in the last number of years. Efficiency, we hear different figures all the time. And throughout 2014, senior officials assured the American Legion and veterans and Congress they will meet the organization's mission by the end of 2015.
Correct.
Now, on 2/2/215, pending with 501,160 claims. Not bad. Year before, at the same time, was 675,000, so that's good. 46.9 days percentage versus 58.8, good. But it should be noted that while the VBA reports 501,000 odd claims awaiting adjudication, this does not represent the full picture. This is what drives us crazy when all we do is get figures today, new figures tomorrow. And the VA reporting only includes selected types of claims, such as original disability claims for entitlement, supplemental claims for entitlement, and entitlement for pension benefits. It fails to consider claims, such as those in appeal status of veterans desiring to add a dependent to their benefits. And if that was done, we're now talking 1.6 million claims. Give us a break.
I talked to the American Legion leadership about this last week. We put in a relatively large increase for our 2016 budget, and this is really where I need your help. One of the reasons, yes, we have driven down disability claims beyond 125 days by nearly 60%. One of the reasons that we've not been able to drive down the other claims is we need more people. The people in VBA have been working mandatory overtime to drive down those claims. That is a losing prescription. That's a prescription for mistakes when you're talking about mandatory overtime. We had more people for VBA in the Choice Act. That was stripped out before it was approved, but we need people. Let me explain to you why, if you don't mind, sir. Let me just give you a few minutes. I really think this is very important. One of the issues that we have is the total number of claims is going up. So even though we're driving down the backlog, the total number of claims is rising. Why is the total number of claims rising? Well, we still have not seen the peak of claims from veterans of Vietnam, even though we're at 2014. So far, 2014 is the peak year for Vietnam veterans. And those of you who are Vietnam veterans know why. Part of the reason for that is veterans are aging. If you take a look at the age of veterans, I want you to compare the year I graduated from West Point, which is 1975, with today. And look in particular at the red bar. So in 1975, we had roughly 2 million veterans over the age of 65. Today, look at this, we have nearly 10% of veterans over the age, or nearly 10 million veterans over the age of 65. The veteran population has aged, and as we age, we all have more chronic conditions, more pain, and more things. At the same time, soldiers are surviving the battlefield like never before. 10 times more likely to survive a catastrophic incident. Agent Orange precondition, which was the right thing to do. We're learning about things we didn't know about. We didn't know about PTSD and during Vietnam. We know about it today, and so we're going back. And for those Vietnam veterans who have PTSD, we're taking care of them. So a huge inflow of claims. We're trying to get the backlog down, but we've got to work harder to get it down because the inflow is so much more. I should show you one other thing. This shows the increase in claims completed, which is 47% growth from 2009 to 2017. But it also shows the number of issues completed, which in 2009 was 2.7 million. Today is 5.9 million. So even though the claims have grown by 47%, the number of issues per claim is 115% growth. So about double the rate. So that's why we need the more people in order to not have to work mandatory overtime. I'll show you a couple of other things, if you don't mind. This is all very important as you go to talk to members of Congress. The percent of veterans receiving disability compensation from 1960 over here to 2000, it was virtually flat at a constant 8.5% over a 40-year period. But look what happened in the year 2000, 2001. It started skyrocketing, and we're now at 19% of people with putting in a claim receiving disability compensation. They earned it, they deserve it, right? But it's a huge increase, and we need to get the staff in order to be able to deal with it. Not surprisingly, the degree of disability tracks the same way. So if you look, and for nearly 45 years, the constant rate of disability was about 30%. Today, 47.7%, nearly 50% disability is what people are getting when they put in a claim. And that's appropriate. I mean, we do everything by law, it's appropriate, but it also suggests that we have a lot of work to do, we need a lot of staff to do it. That's why our 2016 budget is such a large increase. Sorry for taking your time, sir.
No problem, sir. This is Secretary Richard Neville, National Vice Commander from Cleveland, North Carolina. Sir, have you reached out directly to the special ops community, and how did they react?
We have. We've reached out to people who have contacted us. We've reached out to veteran service organizations. I'm a lifetime member of the 75th Ranger Association there's two Ranger Associations, 75th Ranger Association. So we're trying to reach out to everybody. I've made a lot of phone calls today. We're trying to do everything we can to reach out to people. There was no ill intent then. If you look at 61 years of my biography and resume, nowhere on there will you ever find Special Forces. I was a Ranger. I was not in a Ranger unit, but I graduated from Ranger School, Airborne School, Jungle Warfare School, Arctic Warfare School, Desert Warfare School. Never in Special Forces. I made a mistake. I apologize for that. What I was trying to do was connect with a veteran and get that veteran into a home. And I apologize for the mistake.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
We all make mistakes.
Here.
Well, thank you for your. Listen, I'm here for only one reason, folks. Only one reason, and that is to care for you and to pay you back for what you've done for this country. I'm a veteran, and I am here only to do this job. I'm not running for election or anything like that. I was retired, living very comfortably, but this mission inspires me and inspires me every single day. What I said in Los Angeles, what scared me to death is I went from tent to tent or person laying on the ground sleeping was I might pick up that tarp and find my radio telephone operator, or find someone who saved my life when they checked my parachute before I got on the airplane. And that scares me to death. But that is what inspires me every single day to do what I'm doing. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, my name is Bill Schreier. I'm from Washington State. My question to you centers on the VA hospital complex in Colorado. Sir, how did you manage the VA? How did the VA manage to allow this project to become $500+ million in cost overruns? How is this project now years behind the completion? And of course, most importantly, when will our benefit in that area have a hospital located?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I've been here for about 6 months. This project was started back in the early 2000s, and VA has made many changes to the way it constructs things since then. For example, there's now a construction review board, which includes engineers in addition to architects. We had an outside firm come in and look at the way we construct things, and they've made a lot of suggestions. We now have the Corps of Engineers in Colorado helping us, trying to figure out how to finish this project. So undoubtedly, there were a lot of mistakes made, and we're working as fast as we can with the Corps of Engineers and with the members of Congress to identify the funds, get the building open, and serve veterans, which is what we're about. So, full speed ahead.
Hello, Mr. Secretary. My name is Ken Governor from the Department of New York. Mr. Secretary, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir, for yours.
There are all sorts of statistics that we're hearing regarding the corrective actions you've taken since you've taken office. We've heard that there are 110 facilities involved in manipulating data. We've heard that there are as many as 900 employees who are involved in manipulating that data. That many have been fired or others have taken disciplinary action, and yet we were told by a congressman this morning that they could only find 8 employees who have been fired. Are these people ever going to be held accountable?
But I think, you know, as you, accountability is very important to us. Of our senior executive service leaders, 25%, about 100, have deferred personnel ratings because they're involved in some kind of investigation. Right now, about 90% of our medical centers and our leadership teams of those medical centers have new leadership teams. I worry that we don't have the leaders we need to strengthen this organization and move forward. We are holding people accountable. We're doing everything we can to get the investigations done quickly, and where we find malfeasance, we work hard to get the appropriate remedy. And so far, we've been successful on the ones that we sought. My point of view is very simple. You can't change a culture unless you hold people accountable. I have experience running relatively large organizations for 60 years, oftentimes in foreign languages and in foreign cultures. It doesn't do me any good to not hold people accountable. So while I don't know what else to say, we are holding people accountable. Thank you for your question. Mike, I've got to get back to work pretty soon here. Okay, I apologize, but I'm trying to work for you all, so you don't want me here too long.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Again, email me any questions, bob.mcdonald@va.gov, and I promise you, you'll get a response.
My name is Ken Orrock. I have the privilege of serving as the National Membership Chairman for the American Legion, and I'm an elected prosecutor in southwestern South Dakota.
Okay.
There's currently an environmental impact study going on for the closure of our VA facility at Hot Springs. And it's the unanimous position of every consulting party, ranging from the American Legion of South Dakota to the National Historic Trust, the National Park Service and overseeing the historic properties, that this process is so flawed that it's ineffective. You to date publicly refused to come and visit this facility and view what should be the bright star of rural health care for veterans. We'd ask at this time if you could address that issue, try to restore some of the credibility in this flawed system, and start over again so that we can continue to provide quality veterans health care to the rural veterans of South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming in Hot Springs.
Sure. The reason I've chosen not to go there yet is I want to get the study first. I don't want to be biased. I want to get the study. I want to read the study. The minute I get the study, I understand the study, I'll be on the first airplane out to see you. One of the things you should know, because we need your help, again, we're asking for a large budget increase. What do members of Congress say to us when we ask for that? They say, are you productive? Are you efficient? Today, we have 10 million square feet of unused space. We have hospitals with 10 beds in them, and only 5 people occupy those beds on any night. You will not find a hospital system that is safe or efficient with that few beds. And so one of the things we've got to do is find ways to become more efficient and more effective. Those 10 million square feet of unused space cost us $25 million a year. That's $25 million we could be spending somewhere else. Now, I have not made any decisions about Hot Springs. I have not been there. I purposely have not been there. I will read the study with great interest. I will talk to all the experts, and we will make a decision when we get the study in conjunction with the American Legion. You will be involved.
Mr.
Thank you.
Secretary,
I gotta go. I gotta
appreciate
get to
you
work.
being honest in that, but your budget request for 2016 funds the closing of the hospital already before the EIS has been completed. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary Bob, we're good friends. I think we've made a good beginning over at the VA. There's a lot of challenges there. You've heard some of those challenges expressed here today, with accountability, with the claims, with Hot Springs, the closing of facilities, and there's a lot of things that go into that. I appreciate those efforts that you're making at VA, and I know those challenges are there, trying to restore the trust. You put yourself in a little bit of a difficult position with that, and you know that, and I'm sure you're going to work through it. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you. Thanks. We need your help. Thank you.